Agreement, many EU countries have recently reintroduced temporary controls at their borders, leading to questions as to whether a core fundamental of the European Union is collapsing. Truth be told, with this temporary controlling of many EU countries' borders, if care is not taken and it is not well properly managed, the highest end that the European Union managed to achieve might crumble or might collapse before their very eyes, which is the travel-free zone within the European Union. From Portugal to Poland, the EU's Schengen Agreement is supposed to allow the free movement of people across much of continental Europe without a single border checks, but many EU countries have recently reintroduced temporary controls, leading to questions as to whether a core fundamental of the European Union is collapsing. Devised in the 1980s, the Schengen Agreement abolished most border checks between most EU member states. The UK and Ireland never signed up, plus a few countries like Norway. As the European Union expanded, Schengen has allowed most travelers to roam unchecked, but critics have long raised concerns about such an open system. Terrorist attacks with suspects fleeing abroad but within the Schengen zone undetected and surges in migration have highlighted its weakness. But it was the COVID pandemic which revealed how fragile the system had become politically. Within weeks in March 2020, a cascade of member states closed their borders with their neighbors and stopped for a while cooperating effectively with each other. It was the most extensive reintroduction of border checks within the EU in decades, and it led to fears in Brussels that the president had been set. Although borders were eventually reopened, ever since the critics' voice have been getting louder and ad hoc border restrictions have become more frequent. Under the Schengen Agreement, temporary closures and spot checks are allowed. The European Commission keeps a log of where and why restrictions are in place. This must be applied only as a last resort measure in exceptional situations. Sweden, Germany, Austria, Slovenia, Italy, Norway, Denmark, and France all currently claim to be in exceptional circumstances. So, these are countries in Europe that have implemented temporary border checks, and they say, according to the EU law, that it is an exceptional circumstances. That is Sweden, Germany, Austria, Slovenia, Italy, Norway, Denmark, and France. The reasons given are varied. Amongst others, Sweden blames the Hamas attack in ease of increasing a risk of serious violence. Germany said it is necessary in the face of irregular migration and migrant smuggling, whilst France uses the excuses of the Olympic Games. Even though the tournament finished more than a month ago, and although there may be real reasons and real threats, the main driver in politics. The decision of Germany to reintroduce checks at all of its borders last month has caused political consternation. The German government said it was reacting after an asylum seeker stabbed to death 3 people in the town of Solingen. The left-leaning coalition is under pressure, and despite announcing tougher migration policies and the temporary border checks, nonetheless suffered a series of embarrassing results in regional elections in September. The far-right Alternative for Deutschland party came first in 2 East German states and a tighter second place in a third. In the face of the fears that Schengen is falling apart, the MPs hauled the outgoing Home Affairs Commission, Yves Johnson, before the European Parliament last night. So times are changing, things are changing, and every country, their government, their first constitutional duty is to protect life and properties. That is why you see that most of these European countries are taking this as an exceptional measures, and the rising of the far right in Europe might help to end European Union if proper measures are not taken, because the loophole the leftists and the centrists led for years, the far right has been very good in exploiting these loopholes, and they are using them to get the numbers, they are using them to get majority in some countries, and as soon as they have the majority in Brussels, it will be a game changer, and it might destroy everything the European Union has achieved for years.